Let's say one of you in this class go home today and you hear some tragic news about yourself, about your parents, about your siblings, about your friend, doesn't really matter. And something about you is just breaking. And you say, I want to read a book that speaks to the brokenness of my spirit. And then you remember, your mom always spoke very highly of the book of Job. It's a book in the Old Testament, perhaps the oldest book in the Old Testament. You say, well, what was the book? You go back in time to remember what your mom told you about the book. It's a man who had everything and then lost everything. And he grieved. He was sorrowful. He was angry. He demanded justice. And that's exactly how you feel. So you go and you buy the Old Testament and you go to the book of Job and you open it and you read it. And it's speaking to you. It's speaking to your need. You shed a few tears. You have repented. You have cried. You have screamed. You have shouted. And something about you gets released. You're calm. You're at peace. You're satisfied now. You close the book and you go for a walk. You come back home, you want to read the book of Job again. You open it, you read a few lines and you realize, this is not doing it for me. Why? Because now you're approaching the book without the need. You want to read it, but there is no need inside you. See, many of you want to learn, but you have no need to learn. Because you're okay with what you have. You're okay with who you are. You don't assume like you're missing anything. So when you sign up for a class this semester or next semester, for next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, never assume that you're going in to learn. You're curious, and that's a good thing. But it's going to take a long, long while before it reaches the stage of need. Why did my father marry this young woman? You see this mapping? It's very crude. It doesn't matter if you're poor or rich. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, or yellow. It doesn't matter if you're American, Cambodian, Middle Eastern. None of those things matter. Human beings have no choice but to go through this stuff. That's called an epic. Next time you see two people holding hands by the lake, just sit back, watch them. You say, I wonder where they met. Did she look at him first and become attracted? Or did he look at her first and become attracted? Who was bold enough to go say hello first? Was he or she? They both must have a good tone of voice. At what stage does a desire become a want? Well, it's not going to become a want in a vacuum. What do you need to do to turn a desire into a want? Time. You want to like me? You come to this class Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You spend time. And what's going to happen when you spend more and more time with anything? It becomes part of you. You become addicted to it. Then you want it. And depending who you are, what your goals and stuff is in life, it'll either turn into a need that will blossom different parts of you, or eventually it'll disappoint you. If you don't spend time with things, it's never going to turn into a want. If you don't spend enough time with a want, it's never going to turn into a need. And your needs will never be satisfied if you don't have the resources. It's impossible. Do you really think that, forgive me, your names are a little difficult and I've forgotten them. Do you think, you're from India though, right? Oh, Sri Lanka, okay. You're here with your parents? Oh, your parents are here? Okay. A lot of us immigrants in the 1970s, when we came here, it was because we came to realize that we have a lot of desires as young people. We have hopes, we have dreams. But the social and political system in our own countries, they're not going to allow us to bring the hopes and dreams to life. I need to go to school. But to go to school in Iran, you need money. If you don't have money, you can have the need. It's just not going to go anywhere. Many of you in this class want to change. Many of you in this class want to be in a relationship. Many of you in this class want to graduate. And if you're lucky, those wants will turn into a need. But here's what you need to have if you want to graduate from Laney. Overcome your pathetic selves. The class is boring, suck it up. To satisfy any need, sacrifices are necessary. You want to go to the movies and watch a movie for 4 hours? Sacrifice it, put on the cross, crucified. You need to be in the classroom. You think the assignment is boring, it's no good, you need the grade, you need to graduate, just make the sacrifice. If you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, if you have no interest in the class, if you have no curiosity, if you don't write well, if you don't know how to think, if you don't know how to feel the right way, it doesn't matter what your need may be. You're never going to get it. It's impossible. Is any of this making any sense? No? See, when you know this stuff, then human beings are not that much of a mystery anymore. You know why they laugh, you know why they cry, you know why they want what they want. It's not a mystery at all. The problem with all this stuff is the following. You demystify the mystery. No one really is that interesting anymore. They're like a robot, like a machine. You know exactly what triggers them and why. Do you have any questions or comments before we continue with this? Nothing, huh? Lena?
My question
Repression?
about the depression
Okay.
or the
Okay. Imagine I'm your father. I'm old enough to be your father, so imagine that. You have no money. You live in my house. You eat the food that I buy. You use the washing machines that I pay for. You belong to me. I'm a drunk. I'm emotionally, verbally abusive. Where are you going to go? The streets? You know you don't have friends. And you're a traditional person, which means that you're not going to look at me and say, Dad, I'm 18, I'm out. What are you going to do? You're going to fight me every day? And what? What, do you think you can win over me? If you fight me, you're going to be in your room most of the day crying. and being angry, what do? You repress how you feel about me in order to survive. I am the creator of pain. How much do you think you can survive pain? How long do you think you can live in pain? Not very much. You need to understand, we have been around, like most of the creatures down here, we've been around for a long, long, long time. If we were not resilient, if we were not cunning, if we were not deceptive, we wouldn't have survived. Do you have children, Lena? Well, maybe one day you will. And you will understand something really interesting about kids. They're like 2, 3, or 4. You say, Dad, I want a toy. Nope, sorry. I want a toy. Nope. And all of a sudden, what's that going to do to you? All right, son, let's go to Target and look at some toys. He has engaged in a political maneuvering. He has checkmated me. Has he read Niccolo Machiavelli? No. Has he read the Ten Commandments? No. We are in the business of self-deception in order to survive. So, you will do what you can with the pain that lives inside you. You have no choice. Yeah.
I also need suppression in the lens of either intuition or maybe like a spiritual pursuit or something where in which you're like, okay, well, like, I'm hungry right now, but something is that, oh, I should fast, or I need to have the will to do this thing because I feel inclined to basically go against what my physical needs are.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm old and I may die at any time. So let me interrupt you. There is a great lesson to be learned in the early part of the Jewish tradition, in the sense that I think the third commandment, that don't speak loudly or with your tongue the name of God. Because as a human being, you're just filth. Don't contaminate the word. So whenever you want to say God, just say, That's all. And it's a really, really good practice, because you assume that you know what God is. You assume that you know what intuition is, what spirit is, right? But the tradition has given you a good amount of humility and education that tells you, listen, you're a maggot. Your life doesn't mean anything. Your brain doesn't really have the capacity to understand so much. So when it comes to things that are beyond you, just don't say them. I don't know what intuition is. I don't know what spirit is. I can't talk about them. I can only talk about the things I have a little bit of knowledge of. Beyond that, I can't go. I'm not going to talk about faith. I'm not going to talk about those things. You know, you want to talk about those things, you should with your friends. This is not the place for it. Education is about sobriety of your intellect. Look at things clearly. Understand them. They'll help you mature and grow in the right way. I mean, consider the song sang by Beatles some years ago, All You Need Is Love. And the hippies went for that in the 1960s. You can still find them in Berkeley, People's Park. I'm sorry? It's no longer there? Yeah. It's been like that for years, but I understand. But if you want to see how well your intuition, your spirit works in regards to love, fall in love. Allow your intuition to guide you the way it did hippies. 5, 10 years later, you realize it's been a complete mistake. I think Confucius was right in many ways. Human life is short. You make the wrong mistake, life will checkmate you. And you'll have about 10, 15, 20, 30 years of despair, depression. It's not worth it. Think well about things.
Like according to home or like
To think well?
yeah. According to home it's like little according to home.
According to whom, for example, should you walk away from your boyfriend, right? Whom you love. Okay? Let's just say. Let's say you're going out with a guy who's 20, you love him, you've been with him for 5 years. And you raise your hand and you say, yeah, Amir, I think you're wrong. I love my boyfriend. We've been together for 5 years. I'm not going to leave him. So I ask you, B, how is he with his parents? Oh, he doesn't really talk to his dad. I don't even think he has one. His mom, yeah, once in a while he says hello. Does he have a job? Well, off and on. Has he gone to school? No, he doesn't believe, and I don't really think it's for him. What does he do? He's a musician, let's just say. Oh, you don't think I've been 20?
Yeah.
I've been 20. You don't think I've had like dreams? You don't think I've had my dreams turn into nightmares? You don't think I know a few things about America, capitalism, consumerism, loneliness, despair? You don't think I know a few things about money? What, do you think I thought I was ever going to turn 60? I'm a married man. I know what marriage life demands. You know, right now, as a young woman, you may sit back and say, I don't think I'll ever want children. And that may be fine right now. But you're condemned to be a biological animal. You can think highly if you want of yourself. That's fine. About 35, 36, 37, your body is going to scream, I want a child. I understand. You know, I mean, your body will literally scream, I want a baby. But diapers are expensive, man. You need a man to support you. I mean, when you're like 6 months pregnant, what can you do? You need to be home. You're nauseous, you're tired, you're exhausted, you're irritable. You need someone to protect you. If you have a lousy man as your companion, what the hell is they going to do? It becomes a nightmare. I mean, that's what life is. You want to have sex? Have sex. You want to have fun? Have fun. Know the resources. What does a good life need? You want to send your kids to public school in Oakland? You want to send them to private school? What do private schools need? Money. You got 2 kids. You're 25. Can you work 40, 50 hours a week? You need to be home with your kids. So what's your way out? A decent man who has a decent job who can support you. Buy diapers, buy milk, pay rent. Make sure that your mind is not agitated so you can take care of your children. So when they turn to be 7, you could sign them up for Park Day or Head Royce. What's the tuition if you don't get scholarship? $40,000 a year. Can you pay $40,000 for a 5-year-old? What happens? You send your kids to public school. Now, let me tell you what parents do. You put your life on hold to take care of your children. Every time they say the F word, you say, son, I don't like to hear that stuff. Every time they say the S word, son, I don't hear that stuff. I don't like that stuff. Every time you walk the lake and there's someone smoking weed, you change directions. Why? You don't want their nose to be contaminated with that garbage. You have put your life online for the past 5 years. Now you want to send them to public school. All of your work, all of your efforts will be destroyed in one single day. That is called good thinking. You have a man, you just have a disastrous life. And it'll become worse and worse and worse. And something really bad will happen. You know, human beings don't have a garbage bin that is infinite. There comes a point where you'll just get tired of talking to your kids. You'll just get tired of talking to your man, and then you'll give up. And what are you going to do when you give up? There's a good amount of pain inside you. You talk to your man, he doesn't listen. You talk to your kids, well, they're fine. What the hell can they do? And you'll do what Lena was talking about. You have a good amount of pain inside you. What are you going to do?
Be that man.
I'm sorry?
Be that man.
No.
The man that everyone needs.
You conform. What do Americans do when they have a good amount of pain? They drink. They smoke. Don't forget the wise words of Karl Marx. In capitalism, the only way you can find or feel yourself alive is by smoking, drinking, and partying. That's all. You can be that man. You can go out and work 40, 50 hours a week. You just won't see your kids. And when they have issues, they're not going to come to you. There is no relationship. You didn't spend time with them. Life is complicated, man. Hippie thinking is not going to get you very far. I hope we never do. Eli, anything? Sure?
So,
Sure, Zoni.
so where's the silver lining located?
Where's what?
Silver lining. All I hear is bash, 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 and more bash. I mean, it's negative construction, but the construct is in reverse. First, like an hourglass.
So is your question about change?
The silver lining to all this bashing about it sounds misogynistic.
Okay.
It's
You mean
about
cynical?
a traditional value, something old school. Right now, as I see our country, our whole world is in flux. Traditions change. Rome didn't fall in a day, but it built. Greece didn't fall in a day, but it built. They had great value, great education, great military, great this, great that. But yet they're no more than church. Where's the silver lining?
What do you mean by silver lining?
I mean that there has to be some positive
Okay.
motivating going on.
So her question, what's the positive thing about being
Like, just being your own person, being a single mom.
right? Is that your question basically? So-
I'm talking about the silver lining to the format,
The what?
to the format in which you use. The format you use is sexist.
Sexist?
Telling you how I feel. Think, hear.
Okay.
It sounds sexist. It sounds misogynist. To me, you take it apart real quick, and then you try to put it back together in some form. But that has to be kind of put it back together. Some blueprint to put it back together. Whatever that stuff is. What is the silver lining? I mean, where does it go? It has to go somewhere. You can't just take take up something that got blueprint, take it out apart, and bring the pieces just take out. It has to be put back together.
Okay.
It's just a point.
No, that's fine. So there are a couple of things. You have two camps, respectively speaking. You have someone like Moses, and if you look at the Ten Commandments, especially the last six of the Ten Commandments have to do with human life. Be good to your parents, don't lie, don't steal, don't covet, all of that. Moses sees great benefit in life. And he also knows and says to us that if you want to live life relatively well, just follow the Ten Commandments. It's the safest way to go. Jesus, on the other hand, is the very opposite. Do not store your treasures down here. What benefit is there for a man to gain the whole world but lose his own soul? And if you have read the Gospel of Judas, they'll just tell it to you plainly. Life is not worth living. So all of us in this class fall into two camps. In some ways, it has to do with your temperament. Are you an extrovert or are you an introvert? If you're an extrovert, you look at the world and you say, how can I fix it? You become a social reformer. If you're an introvert, you say, the world really sucks. I don't want to be here. It's a creator of misery and pain. You can't look at Jesus and say, where's the silver lining? Death, that's a silver lining. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. He wasn't talking about just John or Jack or Shmo. Forgive them, all of them. You don't hear that in Moses. You hear that in Moses when he's really, really old and tired. He just says, you know what? I'm done with these Hebrews, man. I'm leaving. Aaron, my brother, you take over. These people are no good for me. How about the Buddha? What's the meaning of life? Simple. Misery. Suffering. Well, where's the silver lining? Well, the silver lining is, you want to do well with suffering? Accept suffering, man. Accept suffering. You want to get married and think that this is your soulmate? Fine, get married with that illusion. You should get married with the understanding, though, that human beings are born alone, for the most part live alone, and die alone. Well, if that's the case, why should I marry? Well, you are a physical animal. Once in a while, you need companionship. You need someone to talk to. You need someone to cook for, someone to cook for you. Sure.
I'm a tax that particular rate.
You're a what guy?
Tax.
Tax?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You keep referencing the Bible arbitrarily. Genesis. Man was created to procreate. Nothing else. So our basic instinct is to procreate.
That's actually not true.
It's in the Bible.
That's not in the Bible.
If you don't believe the Bible, that's your person.
Look, first of all, it's not in the Bible. Look, in Genesis, you have two creation stories. In the first creation story, God creates Adam first. What happens with Adam? After a while, God is walking around. What does he see? Adam is bored. And what happens to God when he sees Adam bored? He puts him to sleep.
I'm just having a point of view. But I have a Bible too. I'm just simply saying, in my Bible, man was created with one word. You don't want to talk like that. But that's just simple enough. I'm just saying. So it is our basic nature to do these particular things that we do. Going way back to Moses and you jump all the way to Jesus, they are separate entities. They're not the same. For God so loved the world, he sacrificed his only begotten Son. The entire world. That's in there. Look at the Bible like that. You go in theology and all that other stuff. That's great. And it's Malcolm X in there. You didn't do that great person Churchill in there. Save the whole nation. Save the whole entire nation. And he but our basic desire was to complete whatever task we have.
Okay. So let's do it this way. I think B, you asked a relatively good question about, and its connection to perhaps his idea of silver lining. Where is the silver lining for a mother with 2 kids, a single mom, right?
It's not single. Because somebody got to be taking care of the kids while she's here.
They're in school.
The kids are somewhere with somebody.
Okay. So by single, I gather you mean that you have 2 children, but the father or the husband or the boyfriend isn't there.
No, he's around.
Okay. Okay. So where is the silver lining? Right? Let me ask you a question. Imagine someone has stage 4 cancer. Where is or what is the silver lining in that?
Death.
Yes, but death is...
I mean, I'm not saying recovered, but I mean death.
Good, okay. Now, imagine that I am stage 4 cancer, and if you are familiar, as Stacy is, since she works for hospice, if I'm stage 4 cancer, I live with a good amount of pain. What do I do with the pain? Now, keep in mind also, I am not 90. I am 60. And I also desire to live another, hopefully, 20, 30, 40 years. I have lots of hopes and dreams and imaginations about my life. And I'm going to die. It's not just pain I'm dealing with. My life is incomplete. I'm not being given a chance to complete my stories. So there's also fear. There's also anguish. So it's not just cancer I'm dealing with. I'm also dealing with some profoundly psychological traumas. Where is the silver lining? And if there is one, how do I get there? I knew a friend, his name was Jiddu Krishnamurti. And he had said that to go very far, you have to start with very near. Let's say you sit there and you say, I want to pass the essay, write a good essay. How should I write it? Well, I'm not going to talk about the essay, B. I'm going to ask you, how much time do you usually have? That's yours, free. And then I'm going to ask you, have you written essays in the past? Have you read a lot of books? Do you know how to play with ideas? Do you have access to perspectivism? Do you have the patience to sit and write 20 paragraphs and then going back, rereading them, revising them? And if you tell me, Amir, listen, I only have 5 hours for the next 2 weeks, and I haven't really read very many books, the only silver lining I can offer you is, good luck. Silver lining is a place of hope. It's a place of need. To satisfy any need, you need to have resources. If you don't have resources, you're just self-deluding yourself. Have a nice day. We'll talk some more next week. Make sure to go online and do the Canvas. Sorry, Dave. Next time.
What I say?
You had your hand up.
Oh no, I was just like this.
Okay. Thank you.